Self-awareness is the difference between dash and dash.
You are your next meal. Oh. Okay, no, actually, no.
Oh! I
No,
actually like that,
no.
but okay. Hello and welcome to our first episode of Mugs and Mindset. I'm really excited about this. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, not just because it's my first episode, but majorly because of the person I have here. And yes, our first episode, we have our first guest. So for context, this is a safe space where we sit over a cup of something nice. If you don't have your cup, grab something. I have mine here, and I'm sure our guest has something. She's also, right. So we just sit, relax, have a cup of something, and, we have conversations with our guests, sharing real life stories with professionals, people from different walks of life on how to navigate career, adulting, life in general, even parenting, as the case may be, but through the path of self-awareness. And today, our premier guest is someone who proudly describes herself as a certified yapper. And honestly, we love a woman who can talk and back it up with receipts. So Boluwa Olojo, she's a speaker, she's a learner. She's the kind of person who just stays after the event because, one conversation is never enough, right? So professionally, she's a CIM certified growth and performance marketing specialist. She's got over 8 years of experience driving serious B2B growth across SaaS, fintech, and tech for good. So she's managed 6-figure budgets across Google, Meta, LinkedIn, and Microsoft. And yes, the UK government thinks she's exactly who she says she is because, she was recognized by her expertise and, under the Tech Nation Global Talent Visa. She's a heavy force to reckon with. And today we're going to be talking about navigating life in your 30s. If you want to talk about starting over in your 30s, reinventing yourself, mindset shift, we're talking to someone who has lived through it, who is living through it, and she has both the strategy and the self-awareness to break it down. So welcome, Boluwa Olojo. Welcome to Mox and Mindset Show.
Hi, my name is Boluwa Olojo. So it's Boluwa Tife. And at one point, I just started using 6 digits of my name. And it was Boluwa, and it's been Boluwa for a while. Some people only know me as Boluwa. If they hear like Bolu or Tife, they're like, who is that?
Who's that?
Yeah, I'm happy with the bio because it's apt. So I want to stop disparaging myself so much and saying, oh, I'm not even that much of a big deal. I am.
No, you are. Of course you are. That's something interesting that we'll probably talk about today because it's easy to want to minimize yourself a little, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessary, especially as women, Black women, especially in this landscape, it's not necessary for us to disparage ourselves so much. So obviously, Chiazom and I think we actually officially met at Brighton, but
Yes.
we're in the same community and there's been different conversations in that community, be digital, Black women only. So if you fit that description, DM me. And
Yes, I think I'm going to put the link as well so people can.
Yeah, you have to because it's such a helpful community. So that's where we kind of have all these conversations. And, I always advocate for people to be an active member of community that they join. So me and Chiazom will be talking and then we saw each other at Brighton and, we did a roundtable talk together. We're very much, I feel like the digital marketing landscape, which apparently people have been saying we need to stop saying digital marketing because it's actually just marketing. Because, at least now digital is spending more than out of home or traditional platforms. It's more expensive to buy GPT, for example, than a TV ad or Channel 4. So,
Absolutely.
all of us, we need
Yeah.
to together if you're doing PPC or SEO, but let's not go into all of that. Here, and my mug is a glass of water. It's not cold.
Love it.
Drink tea, but yeah.
Yeah. Whatever works for you, really. Anyways, before we dive deep into our conversation today, let me ask you something. Don't overthink it. It's just for our listeners to understand your kind of vibe. So if you had the power to choose, right? What's one thing you would want cafes to serve on their menu? And it's not food, it's not drink.
Honestly, I think that a good thing that they probably need to introduce, because I can think about 2 cafes I go often, is they need to just introduce like a companion. So sometimes when you go to these cafes, you go and then the way that a lot of the cafes are built is for 2, like
True.
almost all restaurants. It's like one chair and then two people. There's only one that is just across my house that actually has a table for one, and you're facing the wall or you're facing the road, right? So
Mhm.
if I go to a cafe and I'm like, oh, I like, I usually just order tea, peppermint tea, pot,
Mhm.
and I also have a companion, prefer like a 25-year-old Black woman, we can just talk, and then that would be
Hmm.
nice. But it's probably not going to happen soon. So
I
that's something like,
know, but fair. At least it gives me an idea. I think you like to converse. So we hear you. Okay, so diving deep into today, I'd like to know. I know you told me that part of one of the conversations we had before now is, thinking you had it all figured out in your 20s. So I'd like to know what that felt like. What did that look like? What did success look like to you back then?
okay, so with me, there was a lot of things. So first of all, I finished uni really early. I finished uni at 19. I turned 20 at my first job post uni. So what my birthday was at work. So I've always been working and I always understood. I'm Yoruba, so I'm going to say something in Yoruba, but I always understood that Ishe ni ogun Ishe. So if you want to come out of poverty, which I wasn't poor, or my parents are not poor, we're not even below the poor, we're not poor. Let me just be honest. But I just wanted the kind of life that I really wanted. Jet
Mhm.
setting, globe trotting. I needed to work. And I understood that there was working hard and there was working smart. So that's one of the things that I really learned. Yeah, clock it. Because I really learned, because studied mass communication, and in my uni, you could major in broadcasting or you could major in advertising. And I think now they have published something, or they had publishing before and anyway, doesn't matter. This was a long time ago. I finished in 11 years ago. Who cares? So I'm 30.
Fair.
So the idea was I wanted to do radio. I had a radio show all through uni, and the idea was simple, right? Come out of uni, get a radio job, become a radio presenter, become an OAP. I say on
Mhm.
air, Boluwa the voice was my lingo. I had a blog. I was ready to go on air all through uni because
Mhm.
I had experience working with, audio platforms and all of that. I was able to put myself forward, and I'd worked at Top Radio, which is a big radio station, Lagos
Mhm.
mainland, and the biggest radio station in Nigeria, which was Cool FM. And I very quickly realized how the industry was. A lot of people that were on air had either returned from the UK or the US, or they had been there for so long and then they finally got the opportunity. So I was like, actually, no a bit of me. So when I went to NYSC, I got a job offer at Complete Fashion and I didn't mind writing. So I did writing for a bit there. And then I got another job less than 2 months later because my manager was leaving and she took me along to knobs, which is when I understood what freelancing was. And I used to actually do SEO writing. And we had a lot of ownership. So I'll decide what I'll write about. And this was early 20s. I eventually jumped around from job to job, found tech and the same skills I had, which was knowing radio, understanding blogs, is what got me my first job in tech. And I moved to 100K very early on, which was even some of my older ones that were working and I'd been working for years. They're like, even me, I'm not 100K. So you need to start saving your money and be serious about your finances. I eventually calmed down and did a management trainee program at Terragon, which is where I now learned the skill that feeds me today, which is paid media, right? Media buying. And I learned directly from Google and Meta. I was very privileged because the agency I worked for had Unilever, which is,
Mm.
Nigeria Close-Up, Sunlight, Vaseline brands, and then Guinness, Malta Guinness.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, and I joined as a management trainee. When you join companies as a trainee, even though you have a bit of experience, which I had like 1 year of experience post NYC at the time. Sorry for the non-Nigerians, NYC is our compulsory service to the country. Well, I had a bit of experience, so I knew some of the things that were happening. I was doing influencer management, this one, and then I really learned how to do Google Ads. And then because brands like Unilever had big budgets, Google will actually
Yeah.
invite us to their office and train us. So I got really good at it. And yeah, that's how it came to be. At some point, I thought, I wasn't treated fairly at the job. It's not like anybody did anything to me. It's just that I expected a promotion and I didn't get one.
Uh-huh.
Resigned. I actually got a job offer from a company that is now called Money Point, but at the time it was called Team Apps. And it was between that
Oh,
job and doing my startup. So I went for my startup because I was like, you know, why not?
What's the point? Yeah.
That is when I thought I arrived. I was 23 years old. 2018 is when I made that switch. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to my startup. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't need this job,
Have it all figured out.
business. I have it all figured out. I remember I was like, I wanted, when I did the deal, because there were other people in the company before they brought me on as the marketing and sales co-founder. I was like, yeah, I want a MacBook. I want an assistant. I want two salespeople. Very quickly, I jumped business in 2019. And we're doing very well. Everything was going well. And then one of the deals that made me take that job is Google wanted to purchase one of our products, which is public access to free Wi-Fi. And then Google was in the market. We were talking to them. We used to go to their office for meetings in Ikoyi, like, yeah, we're about to sell our
Big
company.
girl stuff.
And then the telcos in Nigeria reduced their data prices and the business was just no longer viable. So Google was like, yeah, we're going to leave the market. And I was like, "Oh." So that was the first blow. But we
Mhm.
continued building our ad platform, which is what we wanted to build, so that people will have one place they could buy billboards as well as digital ads. And tech is very expensive, so we needed to raise more money. And we're in that conversation. I had to, you know, disengage my staff, my assistant, and my two sales people, pay them their
Yeah.
final salary, and just say bye bye because we couldn't afford to keep them on. And then
Yeah.
we just kept grinding. I had a digital screen. I used to go for experiential. Money was coming in. Money never stopped coming in because I always had a very high value skill and I always
Okay.
upskilled. But yeah, I thought I had arrived and it was very quickly I learned that I had not. I did
Interesting. Oh,
just being my own, like I'm my own boss. So, but then I forgot that they're investors and investors, oh my God, they had a lot to
yeah.
say, man. Like, I thought you were going to do this. I thought you were going to, I'm like, well, I'm just, oh, my mommy. Yeah.
Oh, so at the point where you realized this is not working, obviously there must have been a mind shift there, a mindset shift there, right? What did you do at the point where you told yourself that this is not working? Because clearly I can hear from what you said that you realized it. That's when you laid off the staff and, it just wasn't going to work. So you had understood it there. So what did you do going forward after that time?
Yeah, so it was a mix of things. So after the Google thing, we still continued business as usual. I had big clients. I had Mr. Bushi, MTN. So we're still making money. It's just that we couldn't have that running cost over our head. Then COVID hit. So we were going to raise some more money. And we had already got into the last stage with micro traction. People were asking,
Mhm.
when are you getting the term sheets? This is all startup talk. So we're ready. Like I was doing stuff, I was
Yeah.
doing big things.
Big things.
And there was uncertainty everywhere. I remember I was in my parents' house. I lost like 8 kg. I had to lose weight. I just was doing things, grinding. And then I started upskilling. So I did Goldman Sachs 10,000 women. I was doing stuff like, and then I realized when we came back from COVID, I still had clients. Some of them were retainers, so we just could serve them. But the app itself that we wanted to build, the problem we're trying to solve, there was no longer product market fit because everybody took their budget to digital. And most people that had, because we're not targeting the big guys like Unilever and Diageo per se, we're targeting the
Mhm.
tier 2 brands and startups. And they were like,
Mhm.
yeah, why did I put my money on billboard? People are not going outside and to find them on their phones and their screens, etc.
Yeah.
So I took a gap year actually. So the end 2020 ended with me knowing, okay, my startup is probably not going to be a startup anymore. I'll just be an independent consultant. And then I tried to apply for jobs. And then I took a postgraduate diploma opportunity and I used that
Okay.
as a pivot. So that was my gap year 2021. I ended that year last 3 months in Kenya, just living my best life. And then, oh, sorry, I forgot. I opened a small business because I was like, how did I afford all this? I opened a small
You've been doing stuff and that's so good. Like from what you're saying, clearly you've been a self-aware person from quite an early age. At that point, did you think you knew what you were doing? Like, do you think this is me? I know this has happened. I know I'm aware enough to know. And do you think self-awareness played a role in you trying to do things differently?
Yeah.
Or you were just moving?
So I think it was double because I think COVID reset everybody's brain. And then
True.
2020, we had another big event in Nigeria in October. So there were like multiple triggers, right? So I knew that in order to do so, I think that the common theme has always been "Ishe ni ogun ishe." So if I'm going to have money, if I'm going to solve my problems, if I don't want to be hungry, I need to work. And
To
the kind of
work.
work I need to do, I need to work smart. So when I'm working too hard, or I'm like, I just have an input output mindset where it's like I putting in enough work to get this thing I want. Because I think that also another thing that helps is talking to people. So when I was speaking to people and people would know my skill set, they'll be like, then maybe you should come here. I remember I got a job offer from InterSwitch. I never went for medicals. Oh no, I went for medicals and I didn't sign the offer eventually.
Okay.
Just that was a long story in 2021. But so many jobs, man. God. But it was just self-helping and just knowing that I wasn't going to go hungry no matter what. And it was always good. I mean, in Lagos, it's always good because my parents have their house. So if anything happens, even today, as in
Somewhere
today,
to
like,
go back to. Yeah.
pack my bag, I'm going back to Lagos State, my father's house. I have a room. It's still there
Uh-huh.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
These days. So I think that I knew that I had that backup, that safety net, but also I didn't want to have to be in that situation where I'm moving back home. So I always worked hard and I always knew that if I work hard, I learn it. There's nothing I can't learn. I really believe I can be a pilot, like if I wanted to. Because the
Yeah.
pilot better than me. We've seen pilots now, they're better than me. I can't do it. So that's
They
how I
learned it from somewhere.
yeah, everything is gradual. You learn, you get better, you get worse, you do it again. Trial and error.
Nice, Bolu. You're so God. You sound. Love. I love your mindset. I love it a lot. I knew when I met you, I knew there was something, but I just didn't know it would be this intriguing for me. Because you sound like someone who was also raised by self-aware people. Because that mindset of you need to work to earn. I mean, some people also would have that safety net and abuse it, but you just want
Yeah.
to go and do your thing. There's that confidence that is there, but you're not relying on it. You're not using it as an excuse. That sounds wholesome to me. So just a recap of what Bolu has been saying, she'd done a lot of things at a very young age, but then when she started her own stuff, she realized that there's more to life than things going smooth. Life is really not always a one-way street or like one straight road. And so, what do you think? I mean, you've talked about clearly you're in England right now, and you're still doing great stuff. But you said something about thinking you had it all figured out, and then realizing that you have to start over in your 30s, rebuilding and all that stuff. What do you think that has taught you?
Okay. So I like to call this phase my transitional period. So I did something that I'd advise everybody to do if you ever wrote a 5-year plan, is to read your 5-year plan. So during
Okay.
my birthday last September, which was my 30th birthday, I read my 5-year plan and I'd just been wailing because the person I was at 25 would have been shocked to find out like what I was doing now. It was just being mediocre. Like, and that's in my own perspective. A lot of people will see me and say, but you go out, you do this, you're speaking at events, you're presenting awards, you have a 9 to 5, you're quite, well respected at your job. But that's not
Huh?
the dream I had. My dream was to do something else, like so many things all at once, which I have done before. And I could understand. And then I read my plan when I was 23, which is why when I resigned my job to do my startup, and I started to think about it, and then it changed something in my brain. I can do things like I can do all things basically, and I just
Yeah.
been I've been living not okay. Let's not go that far. I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, but I've been living for a check basically, doing things
Sure.
after going for events, being happy with my job and my salary and my position, and just getting it done. There was mediocrity in the way that I was living my life, and some people would be like, "Oh my God! So if you were on overdrive, how would you be then?" Yeah, imagine how I would be.
Yeah.
Slowed down, and I thought about I need to start over, which is what inspired me to, as you know, I resigned from my job. By now, like, I think it's not a secret anymore. I've told most people. So
Okay.
I don't know when this goes out. So I resigned from my job and I've
Yeah.
reopened my small business, which got me through COVID.
Good stuff.
I'm looking for a new opportunity more aligned to that 5-year plan, right?
Right.
Because it was
Right.
it was just very clear that I mean, I'm 30 years and 5 months, apparently. I'm just
I
5 months.
love the count.
30. Yeah, the hospital actually did something, and I was like, oh, is it 4 months? Now I know that I've been playing games and I need to get back to it. But I know that everybody's story is not like this. Some people have spent their 20s just doing anything, and now they want to come and do more in their 30s. It will be harder. I have to be very honest. If you've not been that person that's just been like, yeah, I quit my job to do my startup. Oh yeah, I quit my job. I've quit. Do you know how many jobs I've quit? I think one day I quit my job on Monday morning. That
Oh
my
my
last day
God.
Friday. Yes, I haven't dropped their laptop for them. A long time ago, 2017. And I went home to do Hallelujah Challenge. There was no plan. Everybody say, what are you doing at home? I say, I'm at home now. When they cook. And my mom say, will cook. She shall cook. Do you get? So it's not
Eat.
everybody. So far I'm eating. You know that that's the thing now. That's what makes life hard. You have bills to pay. Sorry. If you're at home, they pay for lights. You know, my popsi will buy lights. I'll sit down, I'll eat. If they talk to me anyhow, I'll collect it. It's not my parents. What would they do?
I mean, not everyone has that grace to fall back on
Yes.
something. But if you do have that grace, what I hear is make good use of it. Like be bold
Yes.
enough to do things. Yeah.
And
Because
it's not
I
even
mean,
just parents. If you have very good siblings, older ones, maybe you guys just,
mm,
you know how people are like, oh, my sister lives in XYZ, but I can't live there. She's annoying. Maybe live there for a little bit till you have enough saved. Because the only reason
yeah,
why I quit my job is I have a runway for 12 months. So I know that in the 12th month, I need to resume work, but it's never going to take
find
that long,
something.
given
Yes,
the
definitely.
effort I'm putting in.
That's so good. So I'm going to ask now, yeah. Looking back now, what do you wish that someone told you, like before, maybe before your first big pivot or something at some point? What do you wish someone told you earlier that would have helped a lot in maybe some of your decisions or anything?
So there was somebody who eventually told me that, one of my investors, which made sense. And it was to have started the business, gotten paying. Well, I mean, I had a paying customer by the time I resigned, but I resigned without that paying customer. So he
Okay.
was saying, because he invested in another one of my ventures, and he was telling me that, you see how I'm doing this other thing now, but I also have a 9 to 5 and everything is going well because there's
Yeah.
no survive. Like, because me, my mindset was that if I resign from my job, that means this thing cannot fail. But really, some of the external factors, when you do pestle analysis, you see the external factors. Like COVID now, who would have guessed that COVID will come? Who would have guessed in a million years that Airtel will make their data 100 naira a day at the time that they did
First.
it? Do you guess? People could have done that if they'd done their um pastel very well. I said this could be a problem. This could be a problem. But I was 23. All my experience was working in an agency, was like data marketing technology, and it was chill and cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know. You see what I mean? Like I didn't
Yeah.
actually know that that could be a thing. I just thought, will I not eat if this thing doesn't work out? And which is honestly, that was the mindset. To be fair,
Yeah. Mindset.
that business, the last time I had a client for that business was in 2024. So it hasn't been that long. Business I stopped doing in 2020. I still have clients that reach out because people know me. I was doing founder-led marketing all the time. So I say that I would have held on. I would have done my 9 to 5, maybe till the end of that year. And then maybe
Mhm.
COVID would hit and I would have realized, oh, this is not in my best interest to go and start a business now. So I think
Yeah.
that's one thing that I definitely should have waited, but this doesn't apply to everybody because to be fair,
Yes.
some people they're better off when they quit their job because their job is taking their life or their job is just not allowing them to put their best
To
into their
thrive.
yeah.
Yeah, true. I agree. Right. So I'm enjoying this a little too much, but we're going to take a short break and we'll be back after the break. You guys don't go anywhere. Hold on. We still have a few things to ask Bolu. See you after the break. Hold up. If you've watched up till this point, I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here till now. That tells me that you're enjoying the conversation so far. Now, let me ask you for a tiny little favor. To support what we have going on here, I'd like you to please press the subscribe button. I know that sometimes we get carried away and, we forget to take these actions. It happens to me as well. I'm not judging you, but please take a moment to press the subscribe button and please share to someone who you think might benefit from conversations like this. That will help us. It will go a really long way to support the work that we do here. And if it touches your spirit to go a little further than subscribing and sharing to someone with the same amount as a cup of coffee that you buy from your favorite coffee shops, you can support the work we do through the link in the description from Buy Me a Coffee. It will help us to keep our productions coming and to bring more. So do well to support us for exclusive content and to be the first to learn about the new episodes that will be coming soon. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to that conversation, shall we? Welcome back to the Mox and Mindset Show. And we still have Bolu here who's keeping us all happy, all smiling. I've enjoyed having this chat with her, and I hope you're having that same level of excitement as myself. So Bolu has told us about how life was in her 20s, how she thought she had it all figured out. And then life just, showed her that there's more to life than all of these perfect laid out plans. And she's also told us how she's carrying herself now, how she's been a self-aware person and how the mindset she had right from time and how it's helping her going forward. So now, Bolu, I'm going to ask, right? Do you have any limited, I feel like we all do. I know I can at the top of my fingers count like 5 right now, but I'm going to ask you, do you have any limiting belief that maybe you used to carry around into every room? And do you still carry it? If you don't, how did you tackle it?
Okay, so to be fair, I never used to until
Um,
I was trying to raise money and I'll go to all these events and I realized like there's like an undertone. So before it was that we're too young. So sometimes people don't take you seriously if you're really young. And I'm not technical. I'm not a technical founder. So that was one of the things that affected me. Then moving to this country at 27 also affected me in terms of now I'm black. I'm a woman, so I'm a double minority. Or in Nigeria, it's just one, you're black. I mean,
yeah,
you're a woman.
you're a
Now
woman.
you're like, you're black. And then there's some black people here as well who are like born in London or born in Manchester. So they can say they're from here or they're from there. I'm from Lagos. That's where I identify as. Even till now, I've only been here almost 3 years, not that long, right? So I think that for me, that's one thing that affects me sometimes. I feel like even with how confident I can be, I just feel like, oh, I don't belong here or I'm not supposed to be here,
Right.
which is wrong.
Mm.
I've earned my
Mhm.
place here. And
Right.
yes, so I think that's a good summary of
I'm
it.
I'm going yeah, I want you to talk about that a little more. Like how does it make you feel? Or I don't know how badly it is or how bad it is now, but initially when you unpacked that thing of okay, I think I feel this way sometimes here. Can you tell us more about how all of that makes you feel? Like in the moment of
So I think that because you understand like why I really talked about Be Digital. I think that's the first community that we're all like the same in a way.
Mhm.
Because some people are
Mhm.
also, I always tell everybody that we're all in ranks here. Like we're in tiers, just like our visas. I'm on tier
Yeah.
1 visa, right? Some people are on tier 2, some people are on tier 3, some people are on tier 4.
Or
And then
child,
there's people
yes.
who were born here, and the people who are have come since they were small. There are people who have never been back home, or people who go home. Like it's just this
Different
segregation,
categories, yeah.
right? And the segmentation is there. So whether or not because half the time when you go somewhere, shout out to people like Chima and Rejoice that building
Mm.
communities for people like us. But if you don't know anybody, like if you get invited to an event and you just go,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times you'll probably be the only black person there.
Mhm.
Maybe one or two mixed people. And in the
Mhm.
very odd chance, you see another black person. In Liverpool, for
Mm.
example, I know what that's like. Manchester is
Mhm.
even a bit better, but not that much compared to London.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you see a lot of people, and then you realize, oh, I'm the minority. It's not like there's anything wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Nothing is wrong with we're living in
Being
England.
minority. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's even nothing wrong with not seeing. Like, if you don't go for a black only event,
Mhm.
you're definitely going to see more of white people than you see
Yeah.
black people. So it's just
Mhm.
that realization. And sometimes most times, people are very nice to me. And I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anything that I've done to warrant that, or it's just them. I don't know. So I can't give any
Yeah.
tips about it. Because a lot of
Yeah.
time, if I don't even go for some of the events I usually go for, people message me like, oh, we missed you today. Are you okay? or why didn't you
Mm.
come like that? And there's no,
Mm.
oh, like any awkwardness at all. So for me,
Yeah.
at first when I came, I remember I went for an event in London. I got to the event. I was supposed to approach a few people and talk to them.
Mm.
And I just came out and I called my friend and I was like, I can't do it to me. I'm going home. I'm having self-esteem issues. And she's like, since when?
Oh.
Almost since today. Oh, I don't know. And it wasn't a very multicultural thing, but I just felt out
Yeah.
of. But now I wouldn't do that again. And I think it's,
Mhm.
building, you have to build your confidence in bits. So you do want to
Absolutely.
coffee chats, you do all these type of things and you get
Yeah.
better eventually.
Yeah, I think one thing I know personally that's helped is the people you speak to. Because just like you said, being black, being, in a place, I struggled to get a job here, like in the digital marketing space. I struggled. So I was in the social care support work, be it for, I think, how many years before I broke into the digital marketing job. Do you see what I mean? I remember going for interviews and, everyone will keep saying the UK experience, that. So a lot of things are piled up against you to make you already feel small unintentionally, but they're there. You can't even deny it. In my team, for example, at work, I'm the only black person in my team. Do you see what I mean? But the good thing is, who you're talking to, I think it helps. Because just like you said, when you called your friend to say, I'm feeling this way, sometimes you need people around you that will remind you who you are, and will remind you that, nah, there's no room for that. Good thing is, I've got a very great team. Like my team is absolutely wonderful. I've never felt out of place with them. I still have that internal voice when I'm in team meetings and I see, or even in larger team meetings, and I see that I'm the only black person there. So sometimes they creep in those voices in your head. But I try to surround myself with good heads so that in those moments I can speak to someone, and say, I felt this way, and you know, yeah. But anyway, I'm happy you said you've not had like that rough experience. That's good because a lot of people like us will not agree with
Yeah, I
that.
think no, I think that honestly it's also that I don't internalize a lot of things. And it might
Oh,
be the
that's
fact
good.
that I'm Nigerian and I literally spend more of my life in Niger than anywhere else. So, you know how this thing we just do in Nigeria, we're like, oh, that's your own business. Like it's for your hand, it's
Mm,
for your pocket. So
mm,
sometimes there's situations that
mm,
I feel like, that was racial, but not in the workplace as much as just, going
mm.
on the street and somebody says something or somebody
Yeah.
looks at you and I don't care because at the end of the day, for me personally, you just have to rise
Mm,
above. And then
true.
everybody has their own different philosophy on how they approach it. But me personally,
Mm.
I just want to move on. I just want to live my life, stack my paper and mind my business. And if there's barriers, which there are, I want to I want to get above those barriers. I don't want those barriers to limit me as much.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be fair, sometimes if you really unpack some of these barriers, some of them could be self-imposed.
Yes.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes you're just overthinking things in your head and people don't really care that much. So yeah, I agree with you. So okay, I'm going to ask you two general questions that I'll be asking all of our guests. If your mindset today could pour a cup of truth into someone's life, what would it say?
You can just do stuff. Just do it. Not to sound like Becky, but just do it just do it because if you don't, you're always going to wonder what if. I imagine if I didn't go to my startup, because I always tell everybody about, I should have taken the money point job. They even begged me, they even asked to add more money. I was like, no. And, but what if I took it and I wasn't happy and I had to resign and it wasn't the money point story that some people have today, right?
Mm,
Just do it. So now I've done my startup and I know what happened. If someone calls me now, let's do startup. I'm not doing no. Actually, no. Because I've taken that path and I've realized that
yeah.
that startup is not for me. But you know what's for me? Maybe brick and mortar. Maybe I want to open shop, have a
Mm,
cafe or something,
mm,
shop,
mm.
kind of things. But now I know. So just do it. Like if you're really thinking about, I think a really common one is people saying, "Oh, I'm already 27. If I go for masters before I this, just go." Because like I know when I traveled, when I moved,
Mhm.
because I got a global talent visa, so a lot of people
Mm.
were asking me questions about it, and I was just
Mhm.
telling like, if you want to, because all of us were in the same industry, apply now. If they give you,
Mhm.
if they don't give you, you stay at home and you lock in. Some of them
Mhm.
did. They came, they got pregnant, went back to Nigeria. Their mom is there. They need that support. But at least, whatever the case, they have their BRP or whatever is the equivalent, e-visa.
Yeah.
Come and go. Once they
Yeah.
won't get British citizenship or whatever it is, ILR, whatever it is you're optimizing for. But I always
Mhm.
tell people, just do it. Stop waiting. You know how that's what I notice in all the stories I've given. Any
Yeah.
hesitation, when you hesitate too much, it gets in your way. Like even if you notice that when you're crossing on the road and sometimes you want to cross, the car will be waiting, you two you'll be waiting, and everybody's looking at each
Yeah.
other.
It becomes stupid.
You miss your opportunity to cross. Like, just do it. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
reckless. Try. Like, I always tell everybody, this is not financial advice. You have to
Mhm.
understand. Number one, I'm very good with money, and number two, I have house. Like, literally, if I call my dad and my mom today separately, not together, and I tell Daddy, I'm coming back to Nigeria. I'm not happy here. I tell my mom, she say, Ma bona, awale. She'll tell me to come back. There's nothing,
Mm.
it's not do or die. Do you understand?
Sure.
But that's me. Some other people, I know I've talked to people because I'm a yapper, so I've had a lot of calls, like coffee chats with people saying, look, this is my situation. I might have to go back to Nigeria. And I'm like, that's not the worst case. They're like, do you know
Okay.
where I'm coming from? I cannot go back
Mm.
because I wait. And now I've now changed my advice. Like, do you have enough saved to like
Yeah.
do
What's
this?
your reality?
Yes, because now I know that there's sometimes when you give advice, you're projecting. So now
Mm.
I've given myself a step back, and I'm like, still just do it, but obviously
Mm.
within reason.
Mm. Yeah, I agree because I know how many things I could have done in this life. I'm 36. I know how many things I could have done in this life. I have a track record of all the things that could have been that I never did. So and it's interesting because you see this show. I remember when I spoke to you and you were like, just do it.
What are you waiting
You were
for?
the one who
Like,
told me do the Google form. Yeah. So I've stalled a lot. I've hesitated on so many things a lot, and I know how they ended. I know how many regrets I've had to live with. So I hear you and I stand with that. Just try it. Give it. And the truth is, even if it doesn't work out how you plan, even if you don't hit all the KPIs, there's always something to learn from every experience.
yeah.
So pick it and go. I hear you. Okay, a rapid one now. Finish the sentence, right? Self-awareness is the difference between that dash and dash.
You and your next meal, oh. Okay, no, actually, no.
Oh, I
No, but
actually like
no,
that,
no,
but
no.
okay.
I think that honestly, like obviously
Mm,
dash and dash is very simple way to put it, but one of
mm,
the things that, and funny enough, I'm a yapper. So I was telling my friend this on the phone yesterday that I
mm.
realized the traits I don't like in people. I always say
Okay.
it is this, it is that. I never knew how to quantify it until my partner
Oh.
said to me, actually, you just don't like people that are not self aware. That's the word you're looking for. And
Oh.
I always say I don't like people that they're the victim in all their stories. They've never done anything bad. You know how I
Mm.
said I left my job on a Monday. By Friday, I gave them my notice. I was not the victim in that story.
No.
Like, I'm not
You did what you did. Yeah.
father for some other people. Somebody had to pick up my slack. I'm not going to come and
Hmm.
rebrand that story now and say, I was just putting myself first. And that's one thing I've realized I don't like in people continuously. Every time that they've
Yeah.
done something, I was
No
just
accountability.
I was the innocent. So that's self-awareness. And I know people think that all these things doesn't have anything to do with what you eat. But when you actually really think about it, even the way that we're assessed in interviews, sometimes people ask you for your weakness and people be like, oh, my weakness is I work too hard. Where are you going to tell the truth about, oh, I don't know how to juggle tasks. My time management can be better.
Yeah.
Well, I am doing this
Yes.
and this to get there.
I don't
So I
trust
think that,
people enough to delegate.
please, let's not talk about corporate.
Let's not break the table.
Let's not talk about corporate. Let's leave corporate to one side.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Okay, so you haven't still given me the words. But I want you to put it in my
You and
sentence.
your next
Self-awareness is the difference
you and your
between
next meal is the difference between you
yeah,
and your
next meal.
next meal. Like
Got
if
you.
you're not
Got you.
self-aware, ah, self-aware is a gift, honestly, because
It is. I know that I was on a podcast sometime last week, and I was saying to the lady that I feel like self awareness is one of those overflogged, overused, and maybe abused words, but it's deeper than how it's just like when a bandwagon people something starts trending and everybody's saying it, using it, feminist, that, and some people don't even really realize what those words actually mean. Yeah,
yeah,
self-awareness is
yeah.
such a big deal for me because I've been through the journey of just doing life anyhow, not knowing where I'm headed until I realized that, sister, you're getting old. You need to get your stuff together. You know, I'm a
Honestly,
mom.
honestly, I
Yes.
spoke to somebody who is at least a bit older than you, in her 40s going to 50s yesterday. We had a
Mm-hmm.
coffee chat. She was saying
Mm-hmm.
something, and I told her she did not realize it, but I learned something very, very important from her. She's
Mm-hmm.
optimizing her life for what works. Like to the point that she's like, oh, I wouldn't take a job in this location. And they start running around, or how am I going to move? And just don't
Yep.
apply for that job so that you don't have that dilemma.
Yeah, you don't put yourself through the stress.
Yeah, because and I know that some people have that mindset. Like I know many people that said, "Well, the job is not remote. I'm going to apply, and they'll give me remote." And they gave them. That's also self-awareness, knowing the kind of value you bring, that they
You
will
bring
bend
true.
check rules for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to leave anybody with anything, like just be self-aware. And if you can't, like, there's so many things that is in my head, but it's in Yoruba, so I don't want to.
Oh,
Well, it's just like you need to just be looking, understand. Like, have you ever met somebody and they just say no and they don't give explanation?
they
Like you
don't
just
even know why they're saying no.
Lagos, no, I've made no. And they're not even frowning their face, like, oh no, I can't. You
Yeah.
know me, I don't like stress. Don't you
Yeah.
know those kind of people that they'll be like, oh, you cannot tell
I
that
know.
people they don't
I
like
know.
they
I
don't like
remember, see, years ago, my immediate elder brother, he said something to me. He said, don't be that girl that someone will say, get into the car, let's go somewhere. You drive, you go into the car, you drive with the person. Someone stops you on the road or someone calls you and says, where are you? Where are you going to? I don't know. Like, don't be that person. Don't just be
that's so
floating.
simple, but it makes so much sense. Can you have some direction in your
It
life?
does now. It does now. Like, how can you just be? I don't know. Like, a question that, and it's shocking because in some situations, it's something that centers around the core of people's existence, but they don't know genuinely, and they're not even bothered that they don't know. So I hear you, and yeah, I agree that self awareness is a big deal. It's something I said it before that it's something that should be taught from childhood. Kids need to understand, like, know themselves enough. Because if you don't
Yeah.
know yourself, you will just face anywhere the breeze blows you
Yeah,
and go.
I think that one of those things is like it's so helpful because I find it so useful now because it's that clarity. Do you know how
Hmm.
many places I don't go anymore because I know I don't like this, I don't like that. I know myself, I will hate
Mhm.
it. Let me stay in
Yep.
my and obviously there are times that they'll say, "Oh, come for this," and I'm like, it seems like something I will hate, but let's just go, and I end up having fun. But even that
Mm-hmm.
was because it could have been, if you maybe I would have
Mm,
liked it.
mm,
So
mm,
I think that
mm,
definitely
mm.
um, self-awareness is key. And I know
Yeah,
people use, what you said about, oh, it's an overflogged word, but it's still very, very real. If you know
very
yourself,
valid.
it's not be true. You're not going to be in situations you don't need to be in. And then when you go off
Straight up.
track, know that, oh, this is not my usual. You know how some people be like, oh, this is not my usual content, but today I'm here to talk about XYZ, which I'm very
Yeah.
passionate about. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to see more of this, let me know. So
Mm-hmm.
you can pivot, you can make those changes, but just know that me, I don't
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
stress.
It
But me,
will even help you. Yeah, I think it will even help you navigate how you address issues, how you involve yourself in certain things, because you know how to choose your battles. But I think there's one downside that we don't really talk about. That's a whole new conversation for another day. When you're self aware, when you're self aware, your tolerance level is low
yes,
because
yes.
you can't deal with people who
I don't take
do
none.
not, like you said, people that don't know when. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, this is so good to chat. And I feel like if anybody is listening, it's just like a voice note to a friend. This is how we send voice notes and we talk. And
Honestly, Bolu, this is so good. I had fun shooting this with you.
Same
You're a
here.
very intriguing and interesting person to chat to. If you, where can we find you? Where can we find you?
Okay,
LinkedIn. What's
so
the
my
name?
name is Boluwa Olojo. So it's Boluwaolojo. So that's my LinkedIn and my Instagram. I believe those are the two social medias I use. And yeah, I'm available there. And if you want to send me a message, ask me any question, just be polite. I always reply my messages. If I miss a message, I can come back to you 3 months later and say, sorry, I missed this, because I'm chronically online to an extent. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always to help and chat and yap.
Yeah, that's a free ticket, guys. Bolu is a sweet person. She's been very helpful to me since I met her. And thank you very much again for being here. I hope that one day you will come back and we'll have another conversation.
Yes, about what this transition looks like in the next
Yes,
three
yes, yes. I would like
months.
to hear all of those stories because I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
guys, remember to hit the subscribe button. If this is something you like, watch out for our next episode. We'll be bringing more interesting people like Bolu. And have a wonderful one, guys. Bye.
You.